seniors don't have time to rebuild.
Right.
They can't go out and get a job. They're retired. You can go work at Walmart or at the Home Depot, but you're not going to replace that kind of money.
Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, your reverse mortgage experts, and I've got Mr. Jim Hughes here. Now, Jim is a certified identity theft risk management specialist. Did I get that right, Jim?
Yeah, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
That is a mouthful. And today we've got Jim here on the Serving Senior podcast, going to share with you how he helps seniors thrive in retirement by keeping them, you can't keep them out of risk, but to lower the level of risk and to help them have the type of retirement they deserve. How are you doing, Jim?
I am doing fine, and you hit the nail right on the head too, Matt. No one can prevent identity theft. You can only react to it and protect yourself from it. So you hit the nail right on the head. Doing fine. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast, and congratulations to you, Matt, on getting so many subscribers.
Thank you.
People who are interested in your messages and your speakers. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Really do appreciate you saying that, sir. And, well, if you could maybe do us a favor, I know some people may have seen you before, but not everyone has. Could you give us a kind of a journey of where you were, what you've done over the years, and maybe bring us up to speed how you got here today as a identity theft risk management specialist?
Well, good question. What initiated this 20 years ago? My computer had a ransomware attack.
Okay.
Shut my computer down, locked it up. They asked for ransom. I did not pay the ransom. Fortunately, I had backup, so my computer tech just uploaded a new operating system, and we were off to the races. But I could have lost a lot of really sensitive information had I not known about this. But once you get hit with this, it's a big impact to you, and that sort of drove or created my mission.
Okay.
And then over the last 20 years, I've just gravitated because of doing identity theft awareness workshops and providing identity theft coverage for companies as well as individuals. The ugly head of the senior citizen as a target became greater and greater. It came into focus. And so I've really pushed in that direction as well as the small business owner because of ransomware and malware attacks. But I pushed to try to help the senior citizen only because I am one. I'm passionate about trying to help them do what they are not familiar with.
Wow.
So I like to start off with just saying to your listeners, if I can, Matt, you work hard all your life to build a retirement, to get through life, if you will, and raise your kids and have grandchildren, etc. So that you can get to a point in life where you can sit back and relax a little bit and enjoy, again, your children and grandchildren. The last thing that you need to happen is for a thief, through your lack of knowledge of the digital world, to get into one of your bank accounts and sweep one of those accounts. Wow. That's the last thing you need. So what we want to try to do today is just talk about some current avenues where people become victims. As opposed to our last podcast, I want to bring some new material in to help those seniors listening. So that is my mission is driven off of the fact that I have been a victim myself, as well as I'm seeing it all around wherever I go and speak. So I hope that answers your questions.
No, that's a great background.
Matt.
And I know a lot of people, Jim, just like you, relate to your story because it's happened to them. there's also a segment of the population is it hasn't happened to them, comma, yet, right?
Yet.
And
Good
so
word.
if we could, maybe could you share a couple stories of people that have been touched by this? That way people know
Well,
it's out
yeah,
there. And then maybe let's
yeah,
dive into how we can prevent it where we don't have to have people experience it themselves.
yeah. Well, a couple of quick examples. I had a person. I get the phone calls all the time on after the fact. What can I do
Right.
now? What do
Right.
I? Well, it's hard. It's very difficult after the fact to get money back, especially if it's out of the country. But one example is a guy in Chicago had a CD at a bank in Chicago that was coming up for renewal.
Okay.
$700,000 CD.
Oh my gosh.
He went online, shopped around to try to find a better interest rate.
Okay.
He found a bank in Colorado online that had 0.25% higher interest. Without calling that bank, without connecting at all with any humans there, he opened an account with that bank and transferred his CD from his bank to that bank.
Okay.
And immediately went to New York. And then from New York, it went to Atlanta. And then it went out of the country.
Oh my Lord.
For 0.25%. And there were so many safeguards that he could have implemented, but he lost $700,000. Now, most of your listeners, most of us seniors, would not want to take a hit for $700,000.
Right.
And so that is an example of online fraud. There's lots of fake banks. There's lots of fake websites. And there's certain things that you need to do to avoid that from occurring.
God. Oh my gosh. No.
Another example, if I can give that to you, is I did a workshop here in Nashville just recently. And I went into, I do a 50-minute identity theft awareness workshop. And I went in and was setting up. And one of the elderly people in that senior living facility came up to me and said, I was just scammed last Friday out of $9,500. I thought it was my grandson on the phone.
Oh my gosh.
That is a social engineering example of becoming a victim. Okay. The thieves are really good at talking over the phone, creating a voice, creating a face. With AI, they can fabricate your grandson if your grandson spends any time online. And then that same gentleman said to me, he looked like he was mid-80s, said to me, that's the second time that's happened to me. And so that tells you how sophisticated social engineering is. Social engineering is where they get you on the phone, get you on your computer or your iPad, and they ask you questions. They try to communicate with you. They try to develop trust. They play on your emotions, and they, piece by piece, question by question, put together your personal information. And they may do that over time and over several phone calls before they attack. And that is an example of social engineering.
Unbelievable. I mean, if you think about it, Jim, too, there's a big difference between 700,000, right, and 9,500. But 700,000 could have been that gentleman's entire life savings. And unfortunately, 9,500 could have been the other person's life savings, right? It doesn't matter how many zeros are involved. If it's everything you got, you still can't believe that it's all gone. I mean, it's just
well, and the sad thing terrible. That I constantly bring to the table when we get into this conversation is that seniors don't have time to rebuild.
Right.
They can't go out and get a job. They're retired. You can go work at Walmart or at the Home Depot, but you're not going to replace that kind of money. And you may not be able to even work.
Right.
So as a result of that, that is a um, that's a good example. I have one more example that I want to say. This
Sure.
is the current examples, if you will. So people need to be aware of this. Another example of social engineering, which is the top tool that the thieves are using, is a woman called a man here in Nashville who's 70 years old, started communicating with him, started asking questions, building a relationship on a dating service, a fake dating service.
Oh,
This guy's 70 years old. Long story short is he started sending money to her. She started becoming more warm, more affectionate over the phone, et cetera, et
oh,
cetera. And over the course of a short period of time, got to his emotions because he's lonely, 70 and a widow.
right.
And she said, "Now, what I'd like you to do, I want to get married. So I'd like you to sell your house and send the proceeds of the house to me in California, and
Oh,
then fly out so that we can get married." And get this, she supposedly was a gal named Kelly on The Big Bang Theory, the program, The Big Bang Theory.
oh my gosh.
And so the son called me, wanting to know how to stop his father from selling the house because it was in the father's name. So those are the kinds of transactions that are going on right now, to answer your question.
Wow. That is crazy. I mean, that is unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
we talk to people. We get a lot of referrals of people that could use some advice on using some of their equity. And we've had several conversations lately where people say, "Oh, I need the money now, but I think I'm going to hold off." I'm like, "Oh, why is that?" Well, I spoke to my fiance. They they said that they're probably going to be able to pay it off for me pretty soon once we get married. And then we start asking questions, and find out that hope to goodness that the good Lord blesses them with someone that loves them. But it sounds more like your story than a fairy tale love story, unfortunately.
yeah, and unfortunately, it works,
Mm.
and that's why it goes on. It's so prevalent.
Yeah,
So if those stories help people just be aware, seniors
sure.
need to be aware because we weren't raised, us seniors weren't raised with locking our front door. We weren't raised with the digital tools that we have, such as cell phones, iPads, and laptops. We weren't raised with social engineering because it didn't occur. We weren't raised with the internet.
Mm.
So they're behind the eight ball and they need educating. And that's what you and I are trying to do right now, is to help them do that. So what I do, Matt, is identity theft awareness workshops for senior living facilities
Okay.
throughout the Midwest. And it's amazing. Every single one that I do and I go into physically and to do a workshop, someone or two or three will say something like, I just had one in Carthage, Tennessee, where a lady sitting in a wheelchair with
Okay.
tubes up her nose, breathing oxygen to live, stood up out of her wheelchair and said, "I had all my bank accounts swept." And boy, that just drives me crazy when I get that. And so that's why I do the identity theft awareness workshops. I also do cybersecurity awareness workshops because 85% of ransomware and malware attacks on small business owners are caused by employee error.
Wow.
So I do train employees as well as the employer on that. So if I can say a few things about what people should be doing
Sure.
that would be helpful, if that's Matt, if that's the direction you want to
That would
go.
be, yeah, maybe some do's and don't do's, if that would be great. And I think, Jim, I want to reiterate the reason why this is important is, yes, $700,000 is a ton of money. $9,500 is a ton of money, but money doesn't keep you warm. If you eat a bunch of it, doesn't stop you from being hungry, right? So it's not really the money that we're talking about, but think about the mental side of just being a senior anyway, right? So the
Right.
mental side of being a senior, I can't do what I want to do. I don't feel good. I can't, whatever. There's already challenges with being a senior, but then think about your life savings being gone and not having enough time to get it back. So you're already dealing with enough. If you have 700,000 and you're a senior, you're probably got challenges, right? In today's world, when
Sure.
it's gone, you've got real challenges, not just paying for bills, but you have challenge mentally, right? You can't even afford to hire the psychiatrist that you're probably going to need to work through all that. So it's a huge deal with the quality of life, not just what you can pay for, but just how you feel about yourself, how you feel about what's going on, and just your overall sanity is a huge deal.
Yeah. The emotional impact. Can you imagine the emotional impact of losing everything? And this guy that wants the lady to his lady friend over the internet wants him to sell his house and send the proceeds to, boy, that's a red flag right there. Don't send any money to anybody, including a voice over the phone that sounds like your children or grandchildren, because
Yes.
those voices are fabricated with AI and are usually fraud. So
No.
just don't send any money to anybody
Yeah.
over the
No.
internet or
And
over the phone.
we actually, before you get into the do's and don'ts, if it's all right if I share, we just had a scenario where we had a client that was referred to us. She had owed about 50,000 on her home from various loans and liens. Well, come to find out, she was the lady that you're talking about. And over time, she had fallen in love with multiple people, and either gave money and had to borrow to pay herself back, or borrowed the money to give it away. So fortunately, she got her daughter involved. Now her daughter was involved with her finances, so we were able to work with her and her daughter to give her enough money from the equity in her home, because fortunately her home was paid off and they didn't do the home scam on her yet,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Her home
yeah.
was paid off, so we were able to give her the 50,000 to pay to catch up on all of her bills, because she was over 70 and still working. So we gave her that money, and then we're able to give her a monthly check to offset, so she can actually back her hours down at work. She still owns her house. The daughter's going to inherit the house someday and be able to sell it and still make a bunch of money. But because she was in the predicament and fell for a few of these scams, we were able to help her. But she struggled until she found us, for a long time, working almost full time and paying all these debts for people that weren't even around anymore. So it
And
definitely happened.
she probably didn't know the solution that you could bring to them.
Sure. Well, I
She
think
was
the other
just
side of it
ignorant.
is you're exactly, the other side is that we want it. We want so bad to be loved that it makes it really easy for people to fall for those scams.
Yeah. Um, well, let me just give a couple of examples of what
Sure.
is happening and what the remedy is.
Yes, sir.
Phishing. Phishing. It's not
Okay.
with a fishing pole. It's called
Right.
phishing.
Okay.
And that is where over the phone or over the internet, people or companies come to you with what appears to be their logo, their personnel, and it looks familiar.
Okay.
Most of us have a tendency to click on
Yep.
a link or call a phone number that's on that email or that's in a text, which is even worse. And as a result, you are routed to the thief directly. And so those phishing emails are really prevalent all over the digital world, meaning all of the tools and devices that we
Yes,
have.
sir. Yep.
And you need to slow down and look closely in the browser at the address and not click on any link that's in
Yes,
that
sir.
email or over a text message, especially. And that will solve a lot of problems. It's slowing down. And we have a tendency, because we get so many emails on a daily basis, we're click, 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 delete, delete, delete.
Yeah.
And we don't take the time, and we end up getting on a link or activating a link that we shouldn't. Fraudulent phone calls are happening as we speak right now, Matt.
Okay.
And that is, they're either doing phishing, or they're trying to say, for example, I'm the county clerk.
Oh
You
my
didn't show up
gosh.
for jury duty. There's
Oh
a
my
fine,
gosh.
a $2,500 fine for not showing up.
Yeah.
I can have the police at your door to arrest you, or you can pay the fine over the phone right now. That goes on all the time, and people of all ages, including the seniors, will fall for that.
Sure.
The last area is that I want to mention is charities.
Okay.
I hope everyone that's listening is understanding. Don't give any money or any financial information or accounts to anyone over the phone or over the internet,
Okay.
because it probably is a scam. Now, I have a guy that I gave a senior presentation to. A guy came out of the audience after I was finished and closing up all my briefcase and all of that, and said, my wife and I, and his wife was in the audience, my wife and I were just scammed out of $109,000. We thought it was our church. So keep in mind, the thieves have no soul.
Right.
They don't care. You're just a number, and all they're trying to do is get as much money out of you as possible. So and don't give any information or donation over the phone or over the internet. Give it in person, or write a check or give them a credit card when you call in, not when they call you. That's a big secret. Don't give any information to people, financial information to people that call you.
Okay.
If you're calling them, you've got the right phone number for that. Number 2 is personal identifiable information. Just keep in mind that your personal identifiable information, such as your name, your address, your email address, is your new cybersecurity, cyber social security number, meaning they can do so much with your email address.
Okay.
Any personal information can be gained, such as your mother's maiden name. If I get access as a thief to any of the credit bureaus, I can get information on you that goes back many, 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 many years, as long as you've had a credit report.
Okay.
So that's real important. Just don't give personal information out over the phone or over the internet in an email to anyone. Say if they need to have that information, you will call them back, and you research, make sure you're calling the right phone number, and you call them back. Last one is strong passwords. Passwords, and I mentioned this before, Matt, but it's worth repeating. Passwords is the front door to your financial well-being.
Wow.
And it's so important to know. Picture the front door to your house. You wouldn't want a front door with just a screen door.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want a front door that isn't locked at night. We always lock our doors at night, right? You want a strong front door. A strong front door in a password analogy is 16 characters, no words, uppercase, lowercase, symbols, and numbers. And I teach seniors how to build a strong password so that they can remember that password, which is, when you think about 16 characters and there's no words in it, you would think that's hard to remember. I teach them how to do that.
That's great.
And remember those passwords. So those are 3 areas that we can protect ourselves with for the seniors, that if they just take a little bit of time, they can augment the challenge of keeping most of the identity theft away from them. That's the secret. So I hope that helps the listeners. I've created a couple of helpful tools that, Matt, I want to give to you, your listeners.
Yes, sir.
That are free. And the links to these two tools are in the show notes, or will be in the show notes, Matt. And so if any of your listeners are wanting to have a list of the key identity theft tips, I've got 8 tips that will help them prevent a catastrophe for themselves.
Right.
And if they click on this link that'll be in the show notes, it'll take them to a landing page, and they can just put their name and their email address, and it'll download right to them. And then secondarily, if you have any business owners or any of your seniors have children that have business owners, cybersecurity self-assessment checklists I've created for the small business owner so that they can assess their risk or their exposure to ransomware and malware. There's a link that'll be in your show notes. They can click on that. Both of those are free gifts for your listeners. And a thank you to you, Matt, for letting me be on your podcast.
Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Jim, why we wanted to have you back and we enjoy having you is because this isn't about you. It's not about what you're doing. It's about what you're doing to help others, which says a lot about you.
Well, thank you.
You were in the marketplace. You were out and about. You saw a problem. Nobody else was taking care of it, or at least not as well as you can. And you started to come up with a plan, put it in motion, and you're out there doing it, and you're out there helping people. So keep up the great work. Thank you for all you do.
And thank you. And one pass back to you, Matt, is the work that you do. People need to understand the value of a reverse mortgage. So I know you are on an educational drive, if you will, to get those people that, like the lady that you gave as an example, they need your help. So I ask you to just keep the energy flowing, take your vitamins every day so you can get up and be strong, and get to as many seniors as you can that need your help.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, sir. Yep. It's all about my goal is to make sure everyone knows the real facts about reverse mortgage so they can make a real decision that has real implications, right?
Yeah.
The challenge we have is that a lot of people don't know the real facts and the real data on how it really works. So they're unfortunately making a decision off of stuff they don't really understand. So if we can educate people, give them the facts, and then it's not for them, we've done our job. They found another solution. But that's what we're doing. Like you said, educating people, sir, spreading the word, and doing it from a place of service, just like you do. We're following your lead, sir.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity, Matt, to be on your podcast and to help your viewers, your subscribers. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Well, I want to leave with a positive.
Yes, sir.
And that is an inspirational thought. And that is that all of us seniors can learn how to prevent this catastrophe from happening, becoming a victim of identity theft, or a business owner becoming a victim of a ransomware or malware attack. It's just a little bit of education. So open your mind, if you will, because there are solutions that can prevent people from getting a hold of your financial well-being and causing difficulty with you. So it's not just a negative road. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I want to be a Jimmy Upper, if you will, and encourage everyone to get the knowledge that they need. These 2 tools that I've given to you is a helpful tool. If any of your listeners have any questions, my email address and phone number are there. I'll be happy to answer questions for them as well. So
that's fantastic.
Hopefully that leaves on a positive note.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the offer. Thank you. Appreciate all your time. And thank you for watching the Serving Senior podcast, where we highlight these amazing people like Jim that help seniors not just survive, but thrive in retirement. Thanks again. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of Retirement Mortgage Solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniorspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, depending on the state, that either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.